When I'm talking to clients, I always want to have a pre-conversation before we have conversations about raising children, because it's just such a hot button issue. The pre-conversation goes something like this in my office. You have just joined those who have taken the same risk as God, where you've entered the zone of the free will of mankind. When in Genesis, God told Adam he was free. That was the first time that word was ever spoken in the universe. No one was free, but we were. And when God said it, he meant it. Adam could choose to love and obey God or rebel when there was only one simple rule to follow. Don't eat from the tree, right? So each of your children will have the right and the freedom to choose to fear and obey God as you hope they would, or to live a life of rebellion and self-destruction, as some of you've experienced. Both people are found in the Word of God, in church history, and in world history. Here's my point. As we walk together in parenting, your job is to provide the environment, just like God did when he created the heavens and the earth for mankind. You are given the responsibility for guidance. You are not given the responsibility for outcome. God showed up with Adam every day while Adam was being responsible to name all the animals, and he only gave him the one rule. Adam chooses what to do with all of those responsibilities and that rule that God gave him. Now, we as parents wish, prayer, miracle, it would be that our children would love and serve God with all their heart, and we'd want that guaranteed in writing. But children don't come with a guarantee, but oftentimes parents make stuff up. If we do X, then we are guaranteed to have these kind of good children. Free will throws out every formula you will ever come up with as it relates to parenting. That's why I've been so avoidant to write a parenting book. Okay, you can have the godliest, God-fearing, God-loving parents, and a child can become a lifelong felon, and prisons are full of them. You can have an awful, addicted, immature, ungodly parent and have the result of one of the greatest preachers of all time. Churches are full of those stories. We all know people whose faces would go into either one of those categories, and their stories kind of go through our head. And you have your own story. So when I'm talking about parenting, I'm simply offering principles to help you, either with your environment or your responsibility. I'm not trying to help with the outcome of what your child becomes, but giving you a clear conscience that you did as good as you could as a parent. And that's really, really important to have a clear conscience. Now reflect for a moment. All of us who want that perfect outcome, that perfect kid, okay? God, the Father, is perfect. God, the Father, provided a perfect, sinless environment, and there were no peers to get Adam in trouble, okay? So it was a perfect environment. He had abundance, all the food, all the wealth he could ever want. His needs were met. And both of his children failed. 100% of them chose their own way, and they were walked out of the garden. And again, there was only one rule. So we, and I'm including me, we're imperfect. We have a sin nature. And our children have a sin nature. They only have to get to be about 2 when you start figuring out that they have a sin nature. That word no one ever trains a child to say no. I've never seen a parent say, now here, practice the word no, okay? It just comes out of them, right? And we cannot create a perfect scenario for our children. So I think aiming for perfect might be slightly grandiose on my part, because God had children and they didn't quite make what he wanted for them. We can aim to obey the Lord with our parenting. We can grow and learn from other people's experiences and their insight. That's a great way to really do it. And apply that somewhat different approaches to each child. You're not going to be able to do the same thing with each one. If you have 2, they come out differently. And every child is a unique creature. They've never been seen before. God's never made this creature before. And so there's not a manual for this creature, because there need to be billions of manuals, okay? Even if they look more like you, they will be so different. They're born in a different time. They're born in a different culture. Us that are above 50, this culture we're in right now, we don't even recognize it. It's so insane. Yet that's the culture that they're being raised in. So they will be different in many ways from you and from each other. Now, as a grandparent now, I see that even more clearly than when I was raising my own children, how different and unique each little creature is. You know, the older you get to see more variances about life. And so I want you to relax from being the perfect parent and just be informed and engaged with the Lord in this co-joint effort with Him to raise His children through the two of you adults. Now, and if you're in a situation of raising children by yourself, you definitely want to watch this series and get the Parenting the Child That Challenges You and the other one. These will help you understand those precious gifts you are trying to raise to love God and to love people. And if you are a single parent, kudos to you. Really, I respect you so much. So stay with us to discuss what I feel is a revelation, which has helped parents see how their children are created, how to work with how they're wired and not to work against it, so that you can get maybe better connected and have better guidance tools. Because if you understand the operating system, we're going to get into that in just a little bit, you can capitalize on that and you can actually have your children's heart as you're moving forward in raising them.